If you've ever been on a shoot that requires outdoor footage and you only have the one opportunity to get it, whether it be because of scheduling conflicts for a client or just because you want to go yourself and get footage of, say, sunrise, it's your one opportunity to get it and you're stuck with that footage, but the weather wasn't cooperating with you. Maybe it was overcast or whatever it was. It just did not look great, but you've got to make it work. It's in that kind of situation that it'd be nice to make that footage pop and still look great. So in today's video, I've got 2 simple tricks that you can use in order to still make this footage work for you. So for this example clip, I was downtown Indianapolis shooting sunrise, but weather didn't cooperate. So you can see after I put some basic corrections on it, get that into Rec 709 from log. As you can see, it's cloudy, it's dreary, there's not really anything dynamic going on in the sky. And so without doing a sky replacement, which can be kind of complex, how can you make this look good? So the first thing that you could do would be to make a simple linear mask. And it sounds more complicated than it is. All you're gonna do is you're going to add, what I did was a second color wheels, and you're going to make it a shape mask. And I'm gonna make it rectangular, and you're just going to put it so that it's right here where the skyline starts. And I'm gonna let it feather out still so you can see the effects. And what I'm gonna do is I'm simply going to change it up here. I'm going to give it some nice warm hues. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna contrast your color so you get that good teal and orange. You got some of that orange in the sky now, and you can I like bringing some of the highlights down. And what you can do is you can even track this. So I can add a keyframe, and if you look at where the video animation is happening as this moves, this is the shape mask. So you see the keyframe, and as it moves up, all I'm gonna basically do is go to the end of the frame and move this back down and let it follow. And that's basically it. You can see that basically tracks perfectly. You can tell that right here, it shows up a little bit on the building. You can do a couple things to fix that. For instance, what I might do is actually bring this back up and then turn that down more in the highlights. And I might even feather it just a little bit more so it's not quite as noticeable. And you can still kind of see it, but most people, when they're looking, they're not really going to notice that. But in other shots, like in this shot, for instance, you can see that there were no other, that blue building is right over here. But you can tell if I click on the shape mask, that's all I did. And it just looks like some of the color spilling around the edges from the sky onto the buildings, which already kind of match that color. So you're not really going to notice it as much in shots like this. You just happen to notice it more in this one because of the blue building there. So that's the quick and dirty way to do it with a linear mask. But let's say you don't want to worry about all the masking and you don't want that color spill to go on to any foreground that you might have that interferes. And you don't want to do a draw mask that goes around it. You know, there is another way to do all this. So let's get rid of that mask. Here's something that you can do. You can copy this layer and drag it up. And I'm going to turn that off by hitting V on your keyboard. And then what you can do is you can add a Luma key effect. Just go to your masks and keying, go to Luma key here, double click, and you can already see kind of what's going on. I'm going to make it so basically it's just the sky that's selected. From there, you can go and add a color wheels effect, and you can do all those changes that we did in the last one. I'm gonna bring definitely those highlights up there nice and orange. And then you can hit V again. Now, the reason I don't like this one quite as much is, yes, it kind of avoids this right here, this building, it still stays blue. But unfortunately, to me, this looks unnatural because you can see if you zoom in here, the sky that was originally blue, you have some of that blue still kind of spilling over. So it's not a perfect solution. And so the mask kind of covered that atmospheric blue haze that was spilling over from the sky onto the landscape. And so, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could come back in here and you could make some other adjustments on your bottom layer and Say I wanted this whole thing to be maybe a little bit warmer, maybe even in the shadows. Let's make it blend a little bit more. Maybe some of the midtones. But then it starts to really affect your entire image, when really you wanted to preserve the natural colors from maybe the landscape in the foreground, but you really just wanted to affect the sky. So those are a couple of ways that you can do it and make it pop, and you can kind of make it look more natural if you mess around and fiddle with it a little bit more. I personally like the masking just a little bit better. I did that in several shots, and you can just see it looks pretty good. And even when the mask spills over, you can see the feathering really does a good job of hiding it a little bit, and it gets rid of that blue that was going on in the horizon, and it just makes it look much more natural. But let's try this with a shot that doesn't involve drone footage. Let's try the Luma key effect first. And there we went from something that looks like this, but you can just see it made kind of a big difference there. Or if I really wanted to just mask it, I could do that extra color wheels effect, shape mask. See, to me that's already looking more natural than this option. So hopefully that just gives you a couple of ideas of something quick that you can do in order to still salvage some of your maybe crappy footage and make it still usable and look pretty good despite the circumstances you were given. This was just a basic rundown. You can fiddle around with all those different kinds of controls. I will link this footage below so that you can practice on your own if you'd like. Now again, this is not my day job. I run a video production company on the side as one of the things that I do, and I don't have a lot of time to make a lot of corrections or go out and get extra footage, so I have to often deal with what I have, and I need a quick and simple fix to help me with what I've got. If you've ever been in a similar situation and you don't have time to go back out and get more footage or do anything like that, or maybe you're an editor and you've just been given footage that you have to deal with, hopefully these are some helpful tips and tricks to just help you make some of that footage salvageable and still pop and look pretty good despite the circumstances you've been given. Now, if you found this video helpful, please help out this video on the channel by giving it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, let me know what you think, and that's all I've got for today, so I'll see you in the next video.